Hey guys, Matt, Straight Race Cards here, and man, was it an awesome weekend. I had so much fun. It was my birthday, and so ended up getting to go to a card show on Friday and meet some awesome people. Met a awesome guy named Carter, or Hogs and Hall of Famers on Instagram, and that was awesome. Some great dealers there, and just had a really good time. So, my wife was kind enough to give me Friday afternoon to be there. Saturday was my birthday, and we had a couple soccer practices, and then my Baylor Bears gave me an amazing birthday present by winning in double overtime after being down 14. So, sick 'em Bears. That was awesome. And my Texas Rangers are doing the best they can to try to make the playoffs. And I love getting to watch baseball this time of year. I love scoreboard watching when your team is winning. So that's been really fun. And so, as I went to the show this weekend and, even, over the last week or so, I've just been reflecting on a lot of things. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is a subject so near and dear to my heart because I'm not very good at it. So any conundrum that I want to share with you is something that I am currently wrestling on, something that I currently struggle with. So I'm not going to pretend like I've nailed this topic because I've done, in fact, the opposite. I'm struggling through this. So I'd love any wisdom that you guys have to share. But today I want to talk about how to fight entitlement in the hobby, because I know I am entitled in the hobby. And so my community group, it all started because my community group at church is reading a book. I'm not sponsored or anything for this, but it's a really great book. It's called Raising Grateful Kids in an Entitled World by Kristen Welch. And as we were reading that, what I thought is, how can I teach my kids how can I raise my kids to not be entitled when I am already entitled? So there's a lot of heart work left for me to do. And it relates to cards too. So as I was at the show this weekend, I remember seeing a beautiful SGC 5.5 of the 1955 K-line I need. Probably the number one card that I need on my list right now. And I know the prices pretty well, been tracking it, following it. And I think, the hobby dealer had it priced pretty high, and I ended up, asking for a pretty significant discount with the mindset of thinking they'll come down just because the comps were pretty high for that card. And they really didn't budge a whole lot. I think they took like $10 off sticker. And I think in that moment, I was entitled, thinking that I deserved I deserved that price to be lower. Just because I was at a show, I deserved a better deal just because I'd gotten something in the past, or a better deal in the past from other guys. And I think in my own life, even last week, to celebrate my birthday, my wife and I went out to dinner. And my parents, who are incredible grandparents, they told us that they'd watch our kids and we could go out to dinner. And, they mentioned that they could, would also potentially help pay for dinner as well. Super kind of them. And as the day came, they came over and babysat the kids, and we went to dinner, and, they didn't end up paying for the meal. And I think for me, I was entitled because in that moment, I was thinking, well, why didn't they pay for dinner? But the reality is they had already done so much for me. They watched my kids. They, let us use their pool to swim in all summer. They've done a myriad of things for us. And so I've really wrestled with, how can I fight this in the hobby and in my own life as I wrestle through it and as I want to raise my kids to not be entitled to, because it's something that, I think so many people struggle with. For me, I can get trapped into thinking that I deserve something that, the reality is I really don't. And so some of the things I've been reflecting on is, It's little things like, the first would be practicing gratitude. Um, the mindset change that needs to happen for me is going from, I got to I picked up one card at the Dallas show, and someone asked me what I picked up, all the cards, plural, that I picked up. And I told them originally, I only got to pick up one card. And I want to change that mindset. So for me, I want to change that to, man, I am so grateful because I got to get a card this weekend, and it is awesome. And just changing that subtle little set from, I only got a card to I get to have a card, that's a game changer. And so that's the perspective that I want to have, that I'm working on, that clearly I don't have down yet. And, just practicing gratitude and cherishing what I have currently, getting out the box of cards, looking at my display case, and just being grateful. My wife had looked at my K-Line cards, and a buddy came over. We went to the Rangers game Monday, and it was awesome. They hit a grand slam. But my buddy came over, and he was like, "Oh, so are you working on this player, K-Line?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, holy moly, you've got so many of his cards. Do you need any more?" And it was funny because as a guy not in the hobby, the reality is he was right. Like, I have so many of his cards, like, I need to appreciate what I have. And so it's kind of a good gut check for me as I think about, entitlement. Another thing for me is I don't really need a card. I get to have a card. Nothing in the card world is a essential need. It doesn't pay for anything for my kids' college. This is just a fun hobby. It doesn't spend time with my kids. The reality is I don't need these cards. They're just pieces of cardboard, sometimes in slabs, sometimes raw. If I had to sell all my collection tomorrow because I had to pay for something for my family, or for some reason the cards were taking over my life in a way that was unhealthy, I'd be totally okay selling all my cards. And so there's something that I don't need, but they are fun and they're a joy, and you can use cards as a way to encourage others. And so cards are awesome, but they're not everything, and they're certainly not where I put my identity and hope into. So it's a good reminder for me. And I think in that, the third thing would be just walking in humility and not pride. I think it's so easy to think about oh, well, look at the cards I have. A quick look at Instagram might change that when you see other people's cards and get absolutely mind blown. But I think for me, I want to always walk in humility and not walk in pride. And I think that's a good way to fight entitlement, is just always having that John 3:30 mindset of, putting Christ first, putting others first instead of ourselves. And so I need to learn that, and it's been a humbling lesson to continue to walk in humility. And then on that note, it's this idea of, the fourth would be not comparing with others. It's so easy in this hobby to look to our left and our right. And I think as we do that, we start to just put this subtle idea in our mind of, that guy has that card, I deserve that card. The reality is I don't deserve anything. All I deserve is no cards, but we have a privilege to own any cards. It goes back to that mindset earlier of I get to own the card rather than I don't own this card or that card, or I only have this card. And so what a great practice to just continue to not compare ourselves, to be grateful for the things we have, to walk in humility, and just remembering, for me, what I have to remember, especially in this season of life with young kids and a young family. My budget's not all that much. In fact, most people spend my entire yearly budget on on a card show, they buy one card and it would be 2x of what my budget is for the whole year. And I think part of me struggles with that. The entitlement of me says I deserve to spend more money. But the reality is any of our income that I have, it's to spend towards the hobby, it's all discretionary. I have to put, I put everything else. I was talking to Mike Moynihan about that in his podcast. Is he was encouraging me, all of your money goes to family and giving and retirement and all the buckets before you spend it on cards. Cards is the last thing, and he was right, because for me, that hobby money is not a right. I'm not entitled to that money. It's a privilege, and I want to consider it as such. So those are a few thoughts on fighting hobby entitlement. I'd love to hear from you guys what that has looked like, and I'll show you a card that I recently picked up. I am so grateful to own that card, and it has been a joy. So thank you guys, and keep running the straight race. And please let me know what other wisdom you have. I'd love to hear it. I certainly am working on a lot of things, and that's why I want to share these videos, because I want to let you in on that journey and just be authentic in some of the ways that I missed the mark. So thank you guys, and again, keep running the straight race. Here we go. Okay, in light of what I just said, it's time to practice what I preach. So let's practice. I am so grateful that I get to own this card. What an amazing privilege it is to be the curator of this card. So I picked up this 1934 through 36 Diamond Stars Jim Bottingley, and it wasn't on my radar, but I didn't find the K-lines I wanted at the show. I saw this Bottingley, and what I loved about it was I love the centering, I love the colors, you can even just see the joy in Jim's face as he's playing, and I just am captivated by these Diamond Stars. And so I'm going to kind of slowly put this set on the back burner and just pick up some of these cards here and there. Really love this set. I eventually want to really take some more effort into the Hall of Fame run. I'd love to get the Charlie Gehringer, but this is one of those buy the card, not the grade examples. You can see right here, if my camera will focus, there's a little bit of a stain, and that's fine. I don't notice it. There's a little bit of some marking here. I don't know what that's from. You guys tell me. Is that a print mark? It looks like a scratch to me. But again, when I look back, I really can't see any of that. So to me, this 1.5 presents itself like a 3 or 3.5. And I got this for under comps. I think I paid like $65 for this. So it was an absolute win. So grateful to own this, guys. So anyways, that was the show for me. So grateful that I get to have, had the opportunity to purchase a card. If you resonate with this video in any way, please let me know. And let me know if there's any other collecting conundrums that would be good to discuss. And I appreciate you guys watching, and hope you guys have an awesome week. Keep running the straight race.